Hello, everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of Top Rope Reality, right here on the YouTube with our special guest this week,
Gargoyle.
You step my lines all the
Yes,
time?
because you were going to say Gangrel
I
again.
was not going to say Gangrel again.
And it's part 2!
That's true.
Part 2, we're going to talk about WrestleMania 24, the biggest WrestleMania under the sun. Which
That was
means
the
they were-
tagline.
They was inside of a dome, if you don't understand that. Just like,
Citrus Bowl that year,
Bow, bow, bow.
March the 30th, 2008, with 74,635 people.
and we started off with a great match here, folks. We had JBL versus Finlay in a Belfast brawl.
With Hornswoggle.
Please, I was not going to mention
You
Hornswoggle.
gotta have him in there.
How you feel about
Finlay's-
Hornswoggle? That's what I thought.
You're right. You're right.
Put Hornswoggle with a little bull, any goofy characters, and throw them out of there. It's not the 80s.
That was the
did
worst
it?
part about that for so long. They had Hornswoggle and the daggone bull every freaking week on TV wrestling each other. That was horrible.
That's your Hollywood writers for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
843.
I
That's a pretty good. That's about 10.
For an opening match, I mean, that's a pretty good amount
No
of
title
time.
was on the line, so and I really can't remember if they were what
I don't
kind of
remember
feud
what
they
the
had.
feud
I know.
was. Weird.
Once again, that shows you how great it was. Nothing taking away from the,
Yes, that's
the
true.
participants in the match.
Yes, the two wrestlers are great.
The smart thing, though, you should start off with match 2, the Money in the Bank, which I believe this year they're going to start off with a ladder match. That'd be the smart thing to do.
It would be get the crowd going.
Of course.
So that means they're not going to do it.
That's right.
Of course not. Nothing that makes any sense. They won't do it. The second match was CM Punk defeating Shelton Benjamin, Chris Jericho, Carlito, MVP, Mr. Kennedy, and John Morrison. The Money in the Bank ladder match at 15 minutes and 12 seconds. Was that the second time he won it?
I don't know.
Dun dun dun. Well, he won it twice.
Yeah, back to back.
Back to back.
Just a quick little question here.
Yes.
I want to know, honestly, your guys' opinion of CM Punk.
I like CM Punk.
He is a Punk guy.
I'm a Punk guy.
He's a Heyman guy, but he's also a Punk guy.
I like Punk. I mean,
That was my wife's favorite wrestler until he quit.
Punk did what Punk had to do.
Now it's Finn Balor.
So, I mean, he did.
That's true. I
Do
mean,
you,
he
do, you
started
think
out,
do you think he's deserving of the title at the time as he was claiming as greatest wrestler in the world or best in the world?
It's hard to say on that.
I still keep that name on Jericho, but that's just me.
But, you know.
I personally, even though I like CM Punk's best in the world, no, sorry, not
Not
happening.
best in the world at all.
No way, shape, or form.
And I'll say this at the end of it, to me he's whining. Okay.
He is one a lot.
You did great things. I mean, my gosh, no, who can say they held the title for that long in such a long period?
Yes.
They did away with all those long title reigns. They gave him that much, and just because, I gotta face Triple H WrestleMania, I quit. You know, I understand being burned out. That's one thing, being burned out, because that road life,
Everybody gets burned out. So.
believe me, I've only done a couple of these trips, and it knocks me out, man. I can't hardly
Yeah,
do this. So
the
every
work
day,
rate of a WWE superstar is so grueling. It takes
Right.
until they just chew you up and spit you out, which is one of the reasons. And I want to applaud Bullet Club members AJ Styles and the Young Bucks for turning down WWE contracts for the simple fact they said they can make almost as much money and tailor the schedule to their liking.
right, they're their own boss.
And they have more control. They don't have Vinnie Mac having their balls in their hand.
Right.
You know, and look at him. And I'm not a Young Bucks fan either, but they're over around the world.
I enjoy some of their matches. I do think that there's too many super kicks in the
Yes,
matches.
that super kick party bullshit is just, everything's a spot, super kick party. Come on.
Too many spots, but they are good athletes. I'll
Yes,
say
they
that.
are.
They're good athletes. You know, and that's another thing when it comes to these wrestlers, now that tragedy has happened with the Ray's opponent, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but with that tragedy going on, I mean, it gives you a newfound respect for a lot of these wrestlers because you never know your next match, maybe your last match.
Oh, yeah.
So I give them props and respect, but the whole CM Punk thing, though, I honestly believe that he just needs to buck up. If he didn't want to be in the company more, want to go to UFC, let your contract run out, and then leave.
Yeah.
I mean,
do your job.
do your
Thank
job,
you.
what you're
they
paid
paid
for.
you for.
Right.
If you're supposed to lose on out, then lose on out, and then walk out.
I mean, I'm sorry. He was in one of the main storylines. No, you weren't going to be in the title match, but you were feuding with Kane, who was in the Authority, and then you were in the Royal Rumble for so long that night, and then the next night you quit because you're going against Triple H, which more than likely I wouldn't be surprised if he was going to beat Triple H, just like Daniel Bryan beat him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look at that as a marquee match. I'm sorry, but when you're facing the son-in-law, I understand there's controversy with that, but he got in the business where he was at not because of who he married. He is a talented wrestler, number one. So CM Punk should not look down on the fact that he's going to face. Now, yes, CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan, main event at WrestleMania, would have been a great idea.
Absolutely.
Would have been awesome. But you take what you get and you do the best with it.
Yeah, you did.
And I believe that
At least he's not the goon. I mean, my gosh.
this is true, and I believe that
Dale
was
Hopper.
Perry Aguirre Jr. I
There you
believe
go.
was the unfortunate victim of that accident in the
Yes.
match with Rey Mysterio.
Tijuana.
El Hijo de Perro, something like that in Spanish. I'm not sure, but that was a tragedy. And
Yes.
condolences to his family
Yeah.
and to all you people that put that video up there on YouTube, on Facebook, social media. I'm sorry. For me personally, that's just classless. No respect to the deceased or his
Yeah.
family, and
You
y'all
know,
should be ashamed of
I
yourself.
mean, putting up articles is one thing, talking about it is one thing, but showing the video, I mean, yes, we now know what happened. I mean, I did watch the video for the evidence, but that doesn't mean that, I'm going to plaster it everywhere. I mean,
Exactly. I watched it too, but I mean, it was there. I just, come on, people, have a little bit of decorum and respect for the family.
right, exactly.
But enough of that. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You want to go over
That's
number
what it goes.
3 there?
But I can't even see, and I'm not even drinking beer.
Can't see it.
Let me
It's your
see.
favorite wrestler, Bautista.
Oh my God, Batista.
Botchtista,
Versus
Blue
Umaga.
Tista,
Yes, yes.
Going against Umaga, 7 minutes and 3 seconds. What do you think about that match?
Well,
In my opinion, a great Samoan against a not so great big man.
two big guys, physical contest. Once again, Umaga carrying Batista
course.
in this
Yes.
match,
That's another one. That's another guy right there. I know they're all about, there's so many Samoans in wrestling. I don't think Umaga got the credit he deserved.
No.
I think he was a great hand. I think he was a great worker. And, I mean, he had to deal with doing 3-minute warning, which was horrible. But, when they gave him Umaga, I think he ran with it. And I think he did great with that character.
And then you run up against the wall with John Cena, and that pretty much kills
Of course, that
everybody.
killed the whole gimmick.
Kills
I think.
everybody.
And it may kill Rusev.
I see
At
very
WrestleMania,
bad things for Rusev.
If he loses, which I think he will, John
I
Cena,
think he will too.
then that means I think the push for Rusev may be over.
Cena, the modern day Hogan, career killer.
He
He
is.
has the yellow and red outfits now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Hogan
I
now.
never noticed that.
Oh.
Hmm,
And
conspiracy there,
and
man.
appropriately, yellow and red.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness! and
Yes,
yellow on the
John,
shirt.
John Cena is the new Hogan, and Roman Reigns is going to be the new John Cena. All right.
Of course. And then
Wow.
Number 4, the match of the night for WrestleMania 24.
Oh gosh.
Chavo Guerrero, the ECW champion,
The
Got
WWE
beat.
ECW champion.
by Kane in 11 seconds.
Turned around to what, a choke slam I think
Yeah, I
it
think
was?
so.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. I mean,
So
two
terrible.
great wrestlers. I mean, Guerreros. I mean, they're awesome. Taking on Kane, which I mean, longevity. My gosh.
Him
And
Big
you
Show,
give them
Mark
11
Henry.
seconds. I mean, you did the same thing to Daniel Bryan and Sheamus, which I was at that WrestleMania and that was really dumb. Everybody was pissed about that, but it's something they talked about. And I guess that's what WWE was going for.
Yeah.
But nobody cares about that ECW title right there, and that's why they did 11 seconds in that match.
And then they made up for it in the next match. You can have that one.
Of course, Shawn Michaels defeating Ric Flair in the career-threatening match as Flair lost. He was forced to retire at 20 minutes and 34 seconds. And to explain to you who went to this one, it's our buddy John R.
Oh,
that went to
that's
this
John
WrestleMania.
R's
This was Orlando. That's when he
That's
went.
right.
Backyard wrestling.
'Cause you went after me.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
I went to Atlanta, so I was in Atlanta.
You went to Atlanta, so you got to go before me, dude.
And I had a lot of friends from my area that went down to that WrestleMania
It's
in
a good one.
Orlando, and
A lot of people got burned by the fireworks, apparently, too.
yeah, and that right there, like you said, that was match of the night, no doubt. Two of my personal favorites in
Oh, yeah.
Ric Flair, who is my all-time favorite, and Shawn Michaels. Despite everything he's done in the past and reshaped his image and everything, you can't take away what he's accomplished.
You can't
in the
take
ring.
away what he's accomplished. My only thing about him, though, and I know this is going to be controversial, but
I love controversy.
exactly, it creates cash. Do y'all believe that he uses the Christianity thing just for a buck. Since I know we don't have that much going on this segment, I think that he honestly uses it because, and certain people are okay with this. I personally do not curse, but he pushes a huge thing about being born again Christian, going to John Hagee's church and doing this and doing Sunday school with the boys. And then if you listen to some of the Botchamanias which I love Botchamania, by the way, people. If you go watch cheap plug for Botchamania, who they don't know us anyway. But anywho, if you watch that where it says everybody talks too much, that man cusses a lot.
Yes, but
Oh
on a note on that, the ones that they have on Botchamania with him cursing is that before he became a Christian or after. You would have to check the matches. That's the only.
Yes, you would have to check the matches, which I believe the matches that they were after he came back and they reformed the DX thing and all that. I think that was all afterwards because when he went for his back injury and everything, that's when he changed his life around. But that's the whole thing with him is I think, and I mean a lot of the wrestlers that have heat with him, that I've seen interviews with him, they say that that's how they feel about him. You know, and that to each their own. But I mean, look, I'm a Shawn Michaels fan. He does some great matches, and that's well and good. I just think that it's overly done to the point of shoving it down your throat for the money.
If he is, shame on him. That's all. That's what I'll leave it at. You know, if that's what helped him, turn his life around, get it together with his family, and get off the drugs and everything else that he was doing, great. But if you're doing it for money, shame on you.
And it may be a little bit of both. Vince may say, look, we're going to push this so we can all make some money off of it. Like, no, a lot of people have different opinions about this. And Shawn said some people are uppity about this. I thought it was stupid. I didn't think it was so horrible that everybody had to hate on it. But the whole Vince and Shane versus Shawn and God, that's a little much. But I'll say this, I'm not one of those uppity religious people that say that was so horrible, I'm going to hate wrestling forever. It was stupid. I think that was the point. It was over the top for a reason. When you have a spotlight wrestling, I mean, come on.
I've heard a lot worse things be said or used to defame religion and God than wrestling. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like I said, it's not that huge of a deal. It is definitely a topic that can be discussed. A lot of people have different opinions. That's why I wanted to bring that up.
Well, you didn't voice your opinion on this yet.
I'm fine. I know it's something you shouldn't do. And, I felt
his wife stayed with him, so apparently he's off the drugs. And apparently he's a good family man. So at least the home life apparently is doing good, and I'll commend him for that.
And if he's not doing like he should be doing, he'll have to answer for it one day.
And that is true. I'm not here to judge him. I don't want to say that. I'm not judging him. I'm just saying it just looks bad.
Oh yes, you can't say you're a Christian and stuff and do everything else, and they're trying to cuss and do everything, So
hypocrisy.
Yes.
But nobody's perfect. I will say that.
Perfect.
So
right.
Except Mr. Perfect.
That's true.
And speaking of, nice segue, speaking of nobody's perfect, our next match, a Playboy Bunny Mania Lumberjill match.
I think that was the final Playboy stuff they ever did.
I think it was too.
Thank God!
They had to get the PG.
No, other than the centerfolds,
Right, I'm just saying, since the PG era, I think that was the final thing there.
Beth Phoenix Melina defeated Maria and Ashley.
Don't forget Santino was out there.
5 minutes. I try to forget Santino. Like with Hornswoggle.
So that's the one thing I'll say about that. No wonder, like Medusa, I think they asked one of the older women to come back for that, was it the 25th anniversary where they did the Battle Royal?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, all the divas and women wrestlers and all that. Some of them came back, but I'm sorry. If I knew the finish was going to be a dude dressed as a woman winning, I wouldn't come back either. To me, it kind of, well, they already devalue the women anyway, but to me that devalues the women by having a man dressed as a woman winning the match.
Absolutely. I mean, they're having a hard enough time establishing any sort of credibility in the Divas division as it is.
Since Trish and Lita left, there is no more credibility, it seems like.
Right. You have Natty Neidhart is okay. You have a few, but TNA's knockouts are far superior.
Oh yeah.
To me in the ring by far, but and then like you said, you have a guy dressed as a woman winning. Let's just step on them some more when they've got enough uphill battle to wage to get any respect and credibility in the business. And
I think WWE's one mistake was, okay, I understand Awesome Kong was pregnant, so she left. She apparently lost the baby, which, you know, I'm so sorry to hear that. But they were stupid not to beg her to come back when she got done with all that, and instead she goes to TNA. That's on WWE. That was supposed to be Triple H's baby, was the Awesome Kong and Sin Cara, and you saw where both of those went down the toilet.
Yep.
So to me, that was the saving grace for the women's division, and she lasted a few segments and a Royal Rumble appearance, and that was it. Because I think they would have ruined her just like they did Chyna and have her face all the men, and that ruins a female wrestler. Because where do you go from there?
Oh, China.
You can't put her in the Hall of Fame. She was doing porno.
Oh, you can't.
But yet you can have Shawn in the Hall of Fame who did play girl. Okay, sorry. There we go again. That was before his
Yeah,
career.
but there, you know, there's a little bit of difference between posing for that magazine and some of the
Yes.
stuff that.
I understand,
I mean,
but you got to think about this. When they did the interview, when Stone Cold did the interview with Triple H, he said, "I have a daughter who's eight years old. If she goes online to see who Chyna is, it's going to come up with some not so good things." He's talking about the porns.
Right.
One Night Chyna. Okay, guess who hangs out backstage? The one who went in China. Okay, so if it's not
one
okay,
of many, I'm sure.
one of many, besides Triple H that went in China. Anyway, if it's not okay for her to go in the Hall of Fame, then I guarantee you, on the night of the Hall of Fame, guess who's going to be on the stage when Diesel goes in the Hall of Fame? X-Pac, who went in China. So that's my whole thing. And then you have Shawn Michaels who's around. What if his daughter said, "Well, I want to learn more about my daddy's best friend," and the Playgirl thing shows up? How's it any different?
It's not.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not at
Put
all.
her in there for her accomplishments, not for what she did after she left the business.
I think their bigger concerns with putting her in the Hall of Fame have less to do with the porn than her mental stability, and
yes.
the way she is now. If you've seen some of those videos she's been putting on
Oh
the
God,
rants,
she deleted them finally. My God.
Oh, I mean, that woman is
She's got to be high in those videos. She ain't just sleepy, buddy. She's not sleepy.
high, drunk, sleepy, mentally challenged. You name it.
She's like this
She is.
the whole time. And then the interview with Vince Russo. Oh my God, horrible. Horrible. That woman has gone off the deep end. And then she's married. She's married a dude that don't even speak English. Just because he said, "Hey, I want to come to America."
Well, you definitely don't want her in the
So
Hall
now
of
he's a mail order
Husband.
mail order groom. There you go.
I wonder
China.
if Shawn. I wonder
Wow.
if Shawn and Triple H bought him for China like they bought the titty she got. You know.
Hey, there it is. Double Degeneration X. There you go.
Yeah, baby.
But speaking of Triple H, number 7 is Randy Orton, who was the champion, defeated John Cena and Triple H in the triple threat for the WWE title in 14 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, WWE title.
WWE
World
title. Yes,
Yeah,
thank
so
God
it was
they
like
actually made the world title mean something back then.
Well, it depends who holds it too.
Exactly.
Yep. If you're in the favored side of the family, it's all good. If you're not, well,
We'll hand you the belt and make the world title mean something,
yeah.
but it doesn't matter who else holds it.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
And the 8th,
oh God.
Big Show in his matches again.
His matches at WrestleMania, I mean, I think he'll go down famously for holding the kid in WWF New York going, "WrestleMania, baby, woo!" That's what he'll go down for.
And getting thrown out back.
And getting, yes, Aki Bono throwing him out of the ring.
And then Floyd Money Mayweather
Breaking his
knocking
nose.
him out. Yes.
Oh my God.
That's
why
what the
is
8th match is.
why is Big Show even still on the roster?
I don't know. Take up a space.
That's another thing that I have a problem with the WWE is here they've got all this talent they're stockpiling in
Right.
NXT. Okay, I realize you got to slowly feed some of them in,
Yes.
but there's other talent out there that you could hire, and you've got spots being taken up on the roster by guys like Big Show, Mark Henry,
Kane.
Well, Kane can. He's still got just a tad left if you book it right.
He's got a tad left, but he's
got
doing
to come
good.
back being
Though.
Kane. I'm trying to.
Yes,
I'm trying
corporate
to,
Kane's got to go.
But that is making him have longevity.
This is true.
He's going to be longer in the company if he could do semi-retired corporate Kane hanging out.
Well, I can understand that from a personal and career standpoint, but let's see who else that they got on there that I think needs.
And of course, Triple H is part-time. He'll wrestle until he can't wrestle no more once a year.
Right.
You know,
book,
of course.
book himself in big matches and
Of course.
storylines. You know.
But I mean, hey, he's going to do the job. We know that.
Yeah,
He's been doing the job, so that's a good thing. He's got a whole
doesn't-
record.
it
at
doesn't
WrestleMania.
hurt him.
No, it doesn't hurt him. His career is still good. You know, because like you said, Sting is 14 years past due. Because I can't work for Vince because he does Playboy stuff. Sting.
Yeah,
I
you're a hypocrite too, Mr. Christian Guy.
Yeah, because you do it to TNA and they did some things that
They-
Vince were doing. You're like,
Yeah,
The commercials in the TNA when Sting was there was for Girls Gone Wild. So how is that any better? And I understand you can't control the commercials, but if TNA has any kind of pull and they have sponsors, they can say we can't have that as a commercial.
and
Okay?
I also have a beef, with Mr. Stinger and all there. You talk about all these people, in the major leagues in the WWE, and what's the one thing they always say a professional wrestler never does? You never wear a T-shirt in the ring.
That's what they say.
Come on, Sting.
Now, that's
Even
my
Ric
thing.
Flair with his old ass took the T-shirt
Yep.
off and wrestled in the WWE.
That's my thing. Sting's outfit was always like a singlet when he was
Right.
the Crow Sting. So you can cover the titties up using that, because I guarantee you that Vince is going to be a hypocrite when it comes time for Kevin Owens to come on the main roster. They're going to tell him to take his shirt off when he gets on the main roster. If they make him take his shirt off and they don't make Sting do it, then it's not right. I'm
But
just
Vince
saying.
doesn't care. Vince does what Vince wants.
right.
Exactly. It's good one day, and then the next day it's not going to be okay.
And you would think Sting knowing what he's going to be doing.
Right.
Pretty much, you're going to be WrestleMania. You're going to wrestle at WrestleMania. You've been there long enough. Get in the gym.
Yes.
Tone this up.
Really, you got it
Tone it
up.
up.
Yeah, Mr. Venice Beach bodybuilder guy.
Because the whole time he was in TNA, he wore a shirt. I mean, you had enough time to get prepared to go to WWE. I mean, I know
Thank
TNA, you probably didn't care as much because of TNA. I get that,
Time.
but I mean, and he still has good cardio. I mean, he could go with AJ Styles and those other ones. Good cardio, but you need to show it physically too.
If you're going to present yourself as the icon,
Right.
you need to look like an icon.
That's true.
And wearing a T-shirt is not an icon.
I mean, he may surprise us.
That's true.
He may
just
surprise
be
us.
doing it for right now. And
He may
then-
come out with his singlet. I mean,
Right.
his doubles.
I mean, because you look at Flair. The only time
Oh,
he
yeah.
wore a shirt was that last WCW Nitro because he was not confident in himself. WWE showed him you can be confident in yourself, go out there, not wear the shirt. Yeah, he had some saggy titties, but guess what? He could go better than 99% of that
Yeah,
roster. at that
60
age.
years old and can still go out there and work better than half of the main event superstars they got right now.
Exactly, but again, the match number 8 was Big Show losing to Floyd Money Mayweather by knockout in a no DQ match at 11 minutes and 40 seconds. And since that whole build-up, since Floyd broke his nose in that very first segment they ever did, if you ever notice when someone goes for Big Show's face, he does this. He is so scared to mess up his face. Guess what? You're a giant. It's okay to not have a pretty face.
Yeah, and who cares?
Thank you.
Oh, you're a giant.
You're a giant, so it makes you look grislier. I mean, look at Andre. I mean, those teeth. My gosh.
Andre was scary.
Yeah, Andre was scary looking. I mean, but that's the gimmick. I mean, that's what you go for. You're not supposed to be a pretty little giant.
Pretty little giant.
Pretty little giant, exactly. It's a contradiction. Thank you.
Well, I did
Nice.
know. So you do the main event,
Oh.
and then you went back over it again.
Okay. Main event, The Undertaker defeating Edge, who was the champion, with Vicky Guerrero, who did a great job at her character. Also, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. He won by submission. The World Heavyweight title was the main event in 24 minutes and 3 seconds. Now, do you agree with Undertaker and Edge being the main event for the world title? Because a lot of people said they felt that it should have been Flair in his final match. But Flair specifically said, I don't want to be the main event.
Well, if he said he didn't want to be main event,
He shouldn't have been. You're right. He agreed that he shouldn't. But this goes back to Hogan and Rock when Triple H.
Yes,
you
well,
didn't,
that Hogan
you didn't
and
even
Rock-
remember the main event was Triple H and Jericho.
No,
That's
Hogan
how
and
forgettable
Rock
it
should have
was.
been
right.
the main event. Sorry.
Hogan and Rock should have been the main event there.
But this had the title and the streak on the line.
True. And Edge's streak. Edge was undefeated in WrestleMania up to this point. It was actually streak versus streak with the title up there too.
And that makes more sense.
Interesting.
And once again, it shows that Flair being the consummate
Professional.
professional, it's not about me, it's about WrestleMania.
And it should be about the title.
Right. He knew he was getting over, and as a guy who was the standard bearer for the NWA and WCW, he always knew that the world champion is the guy who
Yes.
the company is convinced puts asses in the seats, and that should always be the main event.
Yes, I think actually, in the long run, with him not being the main event, in turn, he kind of was the main event because you look at the title that he held so many times was the main event. That shows head above what that title meant. And a lot of the reason, of course, the Harley races and the Funks and all that. But when you think of the World Heavyweight title, who's the first name you think of?
Ric Flair.
Exactly.
Woo!
So
not Hulk stinking Hogan.
True.
No.
So in turn, he was in one match, but in a way was kind of in two because that world title meant so much at the time.
Absolutely.
And speaking of Flair, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame that year.
Only person to go in as an active wrestler. Kind of, because we knew his last match was that night.
Still, yes.
But they did it that way.
Got beat.
He was the main person to go in, and I just watched this Hall of Fame on the network for
$9.99.
exactly. And they took so long because they had two people go in with The Rock doing the speeches and all that. Oh my God, these people would not shut up putting The Rock over, chanting his name and junk like that because he was still doing Hollywood more than wrestling. But you had High Chief Peter Maivia as his grandfather going in,
Yeah.
Rocky Johnson
That was
going
all kissing Rock's butt right
in. And
there.
I think that's what it was, saying, look,
There's no doubt about it.
let's put them two in, which, I mean, look, they had good careers. That's great, and that's wonderful. You know, they were before my time, so I don't really know a lot about it. I just know that Rocky Johnson, first black tag team champion. That's all I know about him. That's
crazy Tony Atlas.
it's crazy. He is crazy. But I think all that was just to say, we still love you, Rock. We want you to come back.
That's exactly
Please
what
don't go anywhere else. And when you come back, always come back to us.
Exactly. And then, of course, you had Mae Young, who's
Who wasn't
so
young.
No, not young, but she so deservedly should go in. I mean, obviously for the modern day fan, most people will remember her for birthing a hand.
With
But-
sexual chocolate,
Yes,
baby.
sexual chocolate. When
That's Vince again.
when Mark Henry was actually entertaining,
Yeah.
but
Another
I mean,
guy that's taken up a roster space. That
absolutely. But with her though, I mean, yeah, a lot of people don't know about a lot about her wrestling in the past, but she's the only one to wrestle that many decades though, because she technically she came in and she I think it was when the Lay Cool was around. She
Yes.
actually won a match against them, and I mean, yes, we all know it was all made to happen just so she could win a match in another decade. But that's a respect thing right there.
And she also, didn't she get powerbombed through a table or 3D through a
Yes,
table
she
by the
was.
Dudley
She got
Boys?
Powerbomb through the table, yes.
As old as she was then, yes, she did that.
There is no doubt,
Consummate professional.
yes, no doubt that she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for all her
Absolutely.
accomplishments. And if you are interested, now I know not everybody is as wrestling historically oriented as we are, or women's wrestling for that matter.
Right.
Check out a DVD. You can see it on Netflix or whatever. Buy the DVD called Lipstick and Dynamite: The History of Women's Professional Wrestling. There's a lot of stuff about the fabulous Moolah, Mae Young, and all the other pioneers in women's wrestling.
Yep.
Good watch. I recommend it.
I even watched a documentary on Netflix about it's gonna show my age because I can't remember the name of it. Where Ivory came from.
Glow.
Gorgeous
Ladies
Yes,
Wrestling.
that's on Netflix too, and
I watched that
is
also.
a good documentary, and
Yes,
it's
it
just
is.
cool to see where Ivory came from because then women were not that great of wrestlers.
Oh God, the one where she broke her arm there in the ring. Oh.
That was horrible.
That was reminiscent of the Sid Vicious leg, the Chris Candido leg. Oh.
But I mean, she's the only one that came out of there and really did anything huge. But it's cool to see where those people came from. It really is
Absolutely.
neat. And of course, you can't put people in the Hall of Fame when they kill themselves, but you can do it for this guy, Mr. Eddie Graham.
Yes.
Nowadays, you can't do that, which we'll get to that part in another spot. So don't
Yes.
talk about that yet.
I'm foaming at the mouth like a what? We'll let you guess.
Yes, so yes, Eddie Graham went in and he got put in by his son, who later on killed himself too. Wow. And Mike Graham's son also killed himself.
Yeah.
That is horrible. There's something wrong with that family. Something deep going on there.
Just like Devon Eriks.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That whole family can go in, but not all of Savage's family.
Not yet.
Topic of another day. Gordon Soley, the greatest not ring announcer, but commentator of all time.
Yes.
Bar none, Gordon Soley is God. That's all you need to say.
If there wasn't Gordon Soley, there'd never be a Jim Ross.
Or a Joey Styles.
Or Joey
Yes.
Styles, yes. I think those are my top three. Michael Cole's like number 1,027.
No.
He's way back there. He's not that good. And JBL's starting to get on my nerves now, too. He used to be all right.
JBL's just there for a check now. So.
That's it.
Don't blame him.
And then, of
They're
course...
going to pay you. Take it.
And then, of course, the tag team, the you want your body, do your body and worked on your car, go to the Briscoe's Body Shop. The Briscoe brothers went into the Hall of Fame together as a tag team, just like the Funks did. So
Good deserving choice. I mean,
Yes.
I'm the oldest one here, and the Briscoes were, and Flair and those guys. I lived in Orlando and was watching a lot of Florida Championship Wrestling.
right.
And the Briscoes, you know, I'm a technical guy a lot. Great tag team. They've accomplished a lot of their career. You go back and look at some of the older wrestling DVDs, and you can see how good these guys really were.
Yes.
You know, so
The only thing I can say about that tag team is they're not technically as good as the Funks, because the Briscoes were not the tag team brothers that won the NWA title. The Funks are the only ones that I know of that can say that they both won the world championship. Because Jerry did not win
a world
Jerry.
title.
the world title. He never won the world title.
Jerry,
But he had longevity, though,
Yes.
because of being a stooge.
I will have to go back and check and see if he didn't win the light heavyweight or junior heavyweight
He has
title.
won. He has won those. Because I was watching this. Like I said, I watched this Hall of Fame. He won like a junior championship and things of that nature, but he never won the NWA World Title.
No, that wasn't going to happen in his day and age. There's the competition for that belt. He just as good a tag team and just as good a wrestler as he
Right.
was. Period. He couldn't compete with Ric Flair
Dusty
and
Rhodes,
Dusty
all
Rhodes
that,
and the Funks and the rest of those guys.
Harley
so.
Race.
Harley Race.
Yes.
No, you don't mention when you mention those, you don't think Gerald Briscoe.
But to me, I mean, because I wasn't around that generation, but I mean, Jack Briscoe's not the first name you think of either
No.
with the NWA.
Sure don't.
No.
I mean, it's Flair and Dusty in my opinion, and then Harley's number 3. In my opinion, I'll just say that.
How much Flair and Dusty and Harley.
Yep, that's your top 3 for the NWA ever. My humble
That
opinion.
is it for WrestleMania 24 plus some
Plus.
extra.
Yes, we had the little extra topics of
Yes.
discussion. I knew this was going to just roll out there. We'd just come up with stuff. And next week is WrestleMania 30. The only reason it means anything is because The Undertaker lost.
Woo!
And
Just
Daniel Bryan won.
And Daniel Bryan won. So if you were pissed off about Undertaker losing, you were probably happy. As
And
a
there were a lot of
consolation
people
prize, Daniel
shocked
won.
about Undertaker losing, but it had to come.
You got to
Sooner or
remember
later,
the
it's
one
got to
guy
come.
with the face. Yes,
That's right.
the one guy.
Can't go on forever.
That's
John
true.
Cena can't go on forever.
But I will say this,
Please.
Vince. I will say this. Should have been this year. Bray Wyatt needed it more than Brock.
It's gonna make Roman Reigns look better to beat the man who did the 121.
In a way, yes. But Brock is already UFC,
know.
World Heavyweight, all that.
know.
Just because he beat Undertaker doesn't make Roman Reigns look any better.
That's
Roman
what they're
Reigns has
hoping for.
already ruined himself
Yeah.
because they pushed him down to third. Say, I'm not John Cena 2.0.
Yeah, you are.
Just because you have long hair doesn't make anything different.
You're John Cena.
should have kept the Shield together.
They should have.
Sure
But-
could have used a faction. Remember those, Vince? What's a
Right.
faction?
But-
Remember, woo! The Four Horsemen.
Exactly.
Remember, DX. How about the Nation of Domination? The Disciples of the Apocalypse, you know.
Right to censor. For
Yeah,
God's
really.
sakes.
You know, I
I
mean,
mean, just it does help. It gets
the Dangerous
people.
Alliance. I mean, we can go on through the history of wrestling. Factions
Yes.
are important. Just
are.
like tag teams are important.
Amen.
Cruiserweights are important, for God's sake. Bring back the cruiserweight belt and get rid of one of them other crappy belts that don't mean anything. And you can use
so
your
true.
smaller talent.
Got a lot of them in NXT right now.
Absolutely. You know, your J&J security guys.
They could be. They're the agents for those type matches. But I mean, this is. I'm just aggravated with Brock winning that whole thing. It just makes me so mad. It really does. So aggravated.
I'm surprised that he got out of New Orleans alive.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, because he's a hard guy to smuggle out the Superdome there.
Yeah.
And,
Yes, I know.
He might have left before the last match just so he could get ahead of people.
Yeah, they probably ushered him on out there.
But next we will be talking about, in part 3, everybody's favorite, and hopefully will become your favorite. We're going to do countdowns as we always
Countdown.
do.
Yes, it's and
Yes, a different set so we can't point at everything like
the
we usually do.
final countdown. That's the only thing I'm glad about, you know, Daniel Bryan. He doesn't use that crappy song for his entrance music.
That is
My
so
God.
true.
Oh. I used to hate that in Ring of Honor.
yeah. And then he started trying.
And of course it's going to be
They
all
tried to put
about
him the one
WrestleMania.
he's got now, thinking it would kill him, but people love it.
That's
So
right.
They do.
everything they do to Daniel Bryan just washes off his back, and they just
So
takes it.
true.
That's right. So just call us Butter. We're on a roll, baby. We'll be back with the next segment. And that would not be 1, not 2, but 3.
Countdowns, and they're next.
Woo!
Click on over there to part 3. You
Exactly.
can see more of us, crazy people, and our guest, Gargoyle. We'll be right back for part 3.